Welcome to WrestlingTruth.com. Round-the-clock pro wrestling news, TV coverage, and podcasts. And now, coming to you from across the pond in England, it's the Wrestling Truth webcast.
Good evening everyone, you are listening to the debut episode of Ask the Truth with me, WrestlingTruth.com editor Keelan Balderson. This new show will be coming to you every other Wednesday evening, sometimes live, but probably just as a podcast that I'll upload on the Wednesday, alternating weeks with the Supla. So no Supla tonight. That show returns next week with me, Liam and Andy, and then the following week it will be another episode of Ask the Truth and so on. So anyway, Ask the Truth is all about your questions, your comments, rants, opinions, and to get involved all you got to do is leave your question on the Supla or the Wrestling Truth Facebook pages, and you can get to them through WrestlingTruth.com quite easily. And depending on when you leave the question, I'll get to it on the next closest episode. Don't worry about starting a new thread on the pages. There will already be one up for you to post questions in, and I'll probably update a new one every week to accommodate that. So let's take a look at what we've got so far. Glenn Fielding asks, what do you do if you have a knobhead friend who believes that John Cena is going to TNA? Glenn, if somebody really does think that, then there's no helping them. They're too far gone down the crazy train, I'm afraid. But if you really wanted to try and convince them that that isn't going to happen, as if you need any convincing, I guess what you could do is just show them Cena's Make-A-Wish schedule, or take them onto the WWE shop website and show them all of Cena's merchandise. That's why Cena is not going to TNA. He's a merchandise and PR machine. He makes all the money. And we know that Vince McMahon is all about the money. And speaking of money, I don't know if you've been watching Total Divas, but I'm pretty sure Cena's not about to take a pay cut and sell his giant mansion so he can go work matches with Bully Ray. It's not happening. Cena's not going to TNA, and Glenn thinks you're a knobhead. Simon Malin, or Malin, asks, well, he has a ton of questions actually, but let's get to some of them. The first one, what do you think of the current situation in Syria, and do you believe TNA will rip it off in an angle? Well, obviously I think the situation in Syria is terrible. Whenever you get a large loss of life like that, it's just another strike, just another example of the lunacy and the stone-aged mentality of us humans. After all these years, we've still not worked out how to stop killing each other. I do, however, think Britain has made the right decision not to get involved, and Team America should probably back the fuck off and take a serious look at their track record over the past few decades. America's politicians need to realise that the world hates them for good reason. They're warmongering control freaks and should stop getting involved in other nations' conflicts. There's also the fact that the Syrian rebels are made up of Al-Qaeda. Supporting Al-Qaeda is not exactly the best way to stabilise the Middle East, is it? Then again, perhaps the whole point is to destabilise that region so Al-Qaeda can fight a proxy war for the US against Iran and maybe even Russia. It wouldn't be the first time. But I'm going to stop there. This isn't a politics show. will save that for my sister website, wideshut.co.uk. But the second part of the question, will TNA rip it off in an angle? Maybe they already are. Maybe Hulk Hogan is really fighting the Aces and Eights Rebels, and it's only a matter of time before WWE starts supplying Bully Ray with weapons to attack Hulk Assad. But in all seriousness, if the US decided to strike Syria, I wouldn't be surprised if Hulk Hogan cut some kind of patriotic promo. He cut a promo after the Boston bombings when they were in Boston, saying, brother, we don't bow down to stinking terrorist Jack. And I mean, if you look back through history, wrestling certainly isn't opposed to making the themes of war and patriotism and whatnot part of their show. So, yeah, I could see Hulk Hogan maybe cutting a promo about it or something, but I don't think they're going to do an angle where there's some Syrians or whatever. I mean, isn't El Generico, who signed with WWE, now Sami Zayn, isn't he from Syria? So maybe there are some Syrian wrestlers out there, I don't know. But no, I doubt TNA are going to rip off this conflict in an angle. Simon Malian also asks, in a scale of 1 to 100, just how retarded and delusional is Hulk Hogan? Now, I know you're having a bit of fun, but I'm actually going to answer this question seriously, because it really depends in what context you think he's delusional. There's no way around the fact that Hogan is a legend. When he slammed Andre the Giant, brother, there really was 93,000 fans chanting his name. He's one of wrestling's biggest stars, so in that respect, he's not delusional at all. However, he was not offered the lead role in the Wrestler movie like he's claimed. He was not going to be a member of Metallica like he claimed, and he certainly isn't contributing anything of value to TNA. So in that respect, yeah, he's pretty delusional. Which kind of brings us to our next question from Bo Michael Privato, and he asks, what do you think it would take to save TNA before they die? Personally, I don't think that TNA is going to die. They may be going through some changes, but they're not about to just collapse and have all their money pulled and all that. There's no signs of that. The only thing that would kill TNA really is if their ratings took a serious hit because of the dropping of these talents that they've been releasing, and then Spike TV kick them off the air. Then they've got no platform to sell anything. That would obviously probably cause them to go out of business if they couldn't come up with another show. But that being said, there's certainly some things I do differently to attempt to improve the product. Obviously, as I say, their big problem right now is that they took Impact on the road, which is a massive expense from just taping it in one location in Orlando, and in order to foot that extra cost, they've had to keep letting go talent when their contracts come up. So to me, before they let any more talented wrestlers go, they need to get Hogan, get Bischoff, get Sting, have a meeting and say, look, you guys have done nothing measurable to help this company. Ratings haven't risen. Live events still draw only a few hundred people on average. What justifies your contracts? What have you done for me? What have you done other than show off your huge egos on Twitter to all the internet fans that you hate so much? That more in regard to Hogan and Bischoff instead of Sting, but you get what I'm saying. The answer, what have you done for TNA, is nothing. So, at the very least, I'd cut their contracts in half, cut their salaries in half, to help make some of those savings that they need. Whatever they're making now, cut it in half, because I'm pretty sure it's highly inflated and not worth it, because they don't bring anything measurable. If they want to quit because I want to cut their contracts, then they can quit. That's an even bigger saving, and we're not going to lose anything from it because they didn't bring anything in the first place. Then with those savings, maybe you can give AJ Styles the contract he deserves for being the face of the company for so many years and putting them on the map with the X Division. And he's still actually young enough to work a believable match. Sorry, Sting, when you have to wear a t-shirt, it's time to hang up the boots. I mean, all these guys have got name value, but they don't have to be the focus of the show. Somebody like Hulk Hogan is never going to take that back seat, so he needs to be cut. Another thing I do is completely rebrand the promotion. You need to make it clear to fans that things are changing and that things are going to get better. There's a lot of negativity around that TNA name. I'd make it clear that the old guard are out and we're going in a different direction, even if they aren't technically and Dixie Carter's still in control. And if that's the way we're taking this question, if Dixie Carter and Panda Energy and everything's still involved, I'd still, from a storyline sense, give it a reset. And for me, it goes back to the TNA name itself. It's not a name that will take you to long-term greatness, in my opinion. But somebody that was in PR, and for Eric Bischoff, who, you know, claims to have all this talent, the first thing I would do is look at the name of the company. It sounds like tits and ass. It's a mouthful. What's a total non-stop action Impact Wrestling? It doesn't make sense and it sounds cheesy. I'd call them something like the Global Wrestling Council or the National Wrestling Federation. Something that sounds like what a major wrestling group would sound like. Something you'd be proud of when talking about your business. Something that you can't get confused with. What's a total non-stop action? What's a TNA? You know what a National Wrestling Federation is. It's a National Wrestling Federation. I'd then debut a new look for Impact. I probably wouldn't even call it Impact anymore. And I'd have JB and TNA on commentary, because Taz is terrible at this point. He just doesn't sell anything. And basically, on this rebranded show, I'd have the announcers, JB and TNA, just inform fans that TNA has been sold, we're under new management, there's no more shenanigans, everybody is on notice, and it's time to get serious. I'd probably start with a tournament for the new World Heavyweight Championship. We might cut to an interview with Bully Ray and have him start mouthing off about how this is all unfair and that he's the real world champion and the Aces and Eights, we're going to destroy this company. But cut his mic, cut the segment, have Tenay and JB say, we've been instructed not to give Bully Ray any airtime, he's not the world champion going forward. And yeah, obviously you can build things around that and build a bit of heat, but like I say, we'll have a tournament, there'll be strict rules, maybe Bully Ray tries to cheat or disrupt one of the matches and we disqualify him, straight up disqualified, you're out of there. The whole point would be to demonstrate that there are rules, that they will be enforced, there's logic to our program, and that the new TNA has a direction. The Global Wrestling Federation has a direction, they're respectable. Who would I put the belt on? Probably probably a younger guy, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode. Christopher Daniels not a younger guy, but he's in his peak in terms of character development, and he can obviously still get it done in the ring. So somebody like that, I would keep the whole title situation clean for a few months, clean finishes, strict refereeing, just to re-establish some legitimacy, have some solid wrestling, some solid, simple, logical storylines, and then build on top of that foundation. There is a lot of good in TNA right now. I'm not a TNA hater blindly. The way they do their backstage segments with the roving reporter and an actual interviewer instead of an all-seeing camera is good. It's logical, it makes sense. They do great sit-down style video packages like you see in the UFC, where they're not cutting a wrestling promo, they're just talking. They're just talking like humans. Humans with passion, humans with ideas, humans with goals and whatnot. It's not, brother, we're going to do this, Jack. It's real. It's authentic. I like a lot of TNA's presentation. But there's a lot of negativity surrounding them right now. A lot of people laughing at them. This Bully Ray Aces and Eights thing has completely lost direction. He's a great heel, but in my opinion, TNA needs a complete reset, a complete rebranding. And that's kind of how I would start it. Our final question this week comes from John Connor, and he asks, what's going on with Damien Sandow? Dude can't beat Jesus on the cross. Yeah, it's ridiculous. WWE have this lazy booking technique where it's like they know they're going to push somebody in the future, especially people like Sandow who hold the Money in the Bank briefcase, almost a guaranteed signal that they're going to be in the main event eventually. So in their eyes, they don't see a problem in jobbing them out week after week, because when it comes to that moment where they cash in or that they're ready to give them that main event push, they think we'll forget about everything that came before it. And in some respects they're correct, but I don't enjoy seeing talented people who we know are going to be in the main event lose. It doesn't make sense. They're supposed to be good wrestlers, so make them good wrestlers. It was the same logic behind having Dolph Ziggler lose all the time. Well, he's going to cash in and win, so let's get all the mileage out of him, as much as possible in the meantime. I think that's lazy. I think it does take away something from the product. If this was a sport, and it's supposed to be a simulation of a sport, a hammed up simulation of a sport, win-loss records would mean something. Somebody who loses a lot should not be high up on the card because they lose. It's a sport. But in WWE's world, they just choose who to treat like an upper card or a main eventer. Even if they're losing all the time and technically they're being buried in losses, they choose who they want to be on the television. It's kind of like the real life version of what they're doing with Randy Orton. They select where people are in the card regardless of their wins and losses. It's more of a marketing thing. They don't really have a real measuring stick of success that fans can get into, other than, perhaps title wins. But when people win the title, they keep losing until they defend the title, then they win, or they lose the title to somebody else, who then keeps losing. And there's no rankings. I think all these losses do take away from people like Damien Sandow. How do you correct that? Personally, I'm in favour of bringing back the squash match. Where talent the company considers valuable, and who they want to market higher up in the card, like a Damien Sandow, like a Wade Barrett, like a Dolph Ziggler, instead of facing each other all the time in constant repetitive matches between the top guys. How many times did we have Orton versus Barrett matches? Somebody like Barrett should be beating JTG and Zack Ryder and Yoshitatsu. If he's truly over with the fans, then they'll just enjoy the fact that he's out there getting TV time, doing his signature moves, and actually winning, and establishing the position in the card where he's being placed. The higher profile matches need to be held back as something important, something that can be built to. Special pay-per-views. And I think if Sandow is good enough to be selected to win the Money in the Bank, he shouldn't be losing every week. That's just my personal philosophy, and it used to work before the Attitude Era. That's what they did in the 80s. That was how you booked wrestling. The main event, the top guys, the people you want to sell to the public, they win on television by beating jobbers. That's why they're top guys, because they beat the jobbers. And then on pay-per-view you have the top guys fight each other. But during the Attitude Era, that all got thrown out the window, and top guys were constantly facing each other every week, until win-losses, and it all doesn't matter. It's just about who they pick as the top guys. But yeah, as I say, I think that has a negative effect on people like Dolph Ziggler and Damien Sandow and Wade Barrett and all these names that are sort of being pushed marketing wise, but when you look at their matches, they're losing. But that about wraps it up for this week's episode of Ask the Truth. I'll catch you next Wednesday for the Supla podcast along with Liam and Andy. Of course, keep it locked on WrestlingTruth.com for daily news updates, opinion blogs, reviews of Raw and so on. But from me, take care.
You've been listening to the Wrestling Truth webcast. For more great pro wrestling coverage, head over to WrestlingTruth.com and stay up to date on Twitter @Wrestling News. Subscribe to the RSS feed or follow us on Facebook.